What's up, friends? This is Jazz bringing you another For Better or For Worse vlog number 38. Today I got two new vlogs, like usual, and the first one is from October 20th, 2005. I believe Weed and Mike are trying to purchase houses, for I guess maybe they could be closer together. Again, I haven't researched the storyline much, so put it down below, any more information. So it's like, we could do it, Weed. You and I could put our bucks together and buy these two houses. He's like, you live here, we live there, we rent the downstairs apartments, and the investment pays for itself. Mike, these places are falling apart. The basements are damp. The wiring is ancient. Repairs alone would cost us a fortune. He's like, but Weed, these are heritage houses. He's like, exactly. Well, that is an interesting situation. You could buy a place and own a place, but there's still stuff that you have to do with that place. Like what he said, it's in bad shape, so even if they bought the houses, it would cost even more money on top of what they paid for the houses to get it running properly. Like, how do I say it without giving too much information away? Oh, and I apologize for that noise there. Just a heads up. I was downloading something on my Switch, and I thought I had to keep the TV on for it, so try to ignore that further. But anyway, without giving out way too much information, my aunt and I lived in a house that it took a long time for us to feel secure, because we had to pay for it and everything. And there's still times, right, that it gets difficult. So imagine two younger, I'm young. When I say that, I am young, right? And with disabilities, so I'm not one to talk, but my aunt is, the older age. They're two young men, no one else to support them, and they're thinking of doing all this. Well, not young, because Mike has two children at this point, but he's still within his early, mid-20s, so about my age that I am now. This is something that, as it is, a big commitment, and Weed really is logically thinking. It shows that Mike still has a bit of impulsivity that he had as a child. He's like, Weed is straight telling him all this that's going to happen, and Mike is still just thinking of what he thinks, what his vision of will happen. And I'm not saying that may not come to fruition, but there's still a chance it won't. So I know some people say, well, you'll never know if you don't try. Sometimes it is best not to try. Just saying, if the end of it, the bad result is a really bad result. Yeah, that is my 2 cents on this strip, so let's get on to the next one. Final strip is from April 10th, 1983. And we're in, as I said, one of the older strips within the first 4 years of it starting. And John and Ellie are having an interesting conversation about, John's girls, who he works with. And Ellie's like, John, I wish you wouldn't refer to your staff as your girls. John, oh, well, aren't they? I took Jean out for lunch today, Ellie, and we had a long talk. She's been a little depressed lately, so I thought I'd find out why. We discussed her childhood, her family, her feelings about her job with me at the clinic. She told me about her marriage, her worries, how she feels about herself. What's the matter? Nothing. Don't you think it's good that I have these in-depth personal talks with the people I work with? She's like, uh-huh. She's like, I just wish you'd have discussions like that with me. There. That's the point of it. It's great, yes. When you're working with someone, it's good to get along with them. It's good, it's funny. Because in this situation, I think they are both right. in a way. As the boss, it's good that John's given his staff the light of day to show he cares, but if he's not doing that with his wife, I mean, you know what, I would even say that it'd be different if the staff were male. Because, well, maybe back then it would be a little different if the staff were male, but nowadays, as I said, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, Ellie just wants him to feel that way with her, like to handle that, do that with her. And I do agree with her on that. I mean, as I said, I think they're both right, and, well, no, Ellie has no wrong to it, right? But I think in a sense they both have a right way of doing. John isn't completely right because he should be doing that with his wife as much as he does with his staff, but he is right that he cares about his staff. You gotta get what I mean there. That's the funny thing with John. He's, to me, I do like the character. He's a mixed bag. He's definitely not Ted McCauley. It's hard to say the name. I'm sorry. But he can be easily persuaded, in a way. Like, the early John, he wasn't chauvinistic completely, or, you know, a male chauvinist or whatever by any means, but he was very old-fashioned. Like, he believed, like, his mother worked in the kitchen all her life. He felt that a woman's place is, like, his home is her place, and he wasn't trying to be mean. I could tell with John he wasn't doing it to be mean, necessarily. And I think even Ellie knew that, but it's just hard for him to get his mind around. Now, he does grow more understanding and accepting of it eventually. And when I say eventually, I don't mean like 20 years later or anything, but it shows how he develops. I mean, and it also shows John does have moral grounds, like the one situation where he was getting after Ted for what he did to Connie. He listened to Ted, but he said, "You said some really mean and hurtful things." So I know it's funny I'm bringing up all this in this particular strip, but that's the thing with John. He is a caring person, but I also don't think he quite understand how he makes his wife feel sometimes when he does things like that. Like, Ellie, like, she feels John is like she nags him, yes, but she feels like John is her best friend, and she would probably do that type of stuff for John. If he needed someone to talk to, she would listen to him, right, and ask about, like, what his day was. With John, not saying that if she needed someone to talk to and she said it right there, he wouldn't, but he doesn't think of it to do it with Ellie on his own. So I think maybe it's just kind of a loss of thought. He, like, of habit, he's not used to doing that with his wife, but when he's working with his staff, it's something he thinks to do for the well-being of the practice. I don't know if it's for the practice 100%. Like, I think of all his staff, Jean was who he's closest to. Like, heck, even Ellie, to a degree, really likes Jean, right? And is kind of friends with her. So it's a funny situation there. Like I work, but again, I'm not a superior or anything. And do I get along with people there? I do. As I said, with my employers quite well, but I pretty much like being on my own. I said, I'm not mean to anyone, but I just kind of prefer being on my own, or with one, maybe two people max. So it's kind of hard to tell. But I mean, I think John is doing a good job getting to know his staff. But again, spend some more time with Ellie John. Listen to what she has to say. Like, really gotta listen to what she has to say. Well, guys, that was vlog number 38. And if you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel and like what you see, please subscribe. It helps this channel a lot. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you'll know when new videos are coming out. And I'll see you guys in my next video.